So coming up then, who were the first artists that you really started to love in drum and bass, do you think, that got you into it?
So yeah,
shout out to Pendulum for the first CD of Hold Your Colour, back in 2005.
Now the early Noisier stuff, Calyx Moving Shadow album, No Turning Back, because that was on the computer game, the Need for Speed. Yeah, like Midnight Club 3, all the tunes off that. So there was like early Blame stuff, Calyx, Dom and Roland. That was what we really sort of got started in. And then the drum and bass arena albums allowed us to get into artists like Total Science.
Also, then
obviously the Ram, Andy C, and then Ram Wilkinson, Subfocus. I mean, I've still got some old videos that Subfocus did on the computer music from like 2008. They were brilliant. I've learned so much off them.
Yeah, so but the Nightlife, Andy C Nightlife series, also with the Hospitality ones as well. So one of the big artists I look up to very early on was like Danny Bird with Supersize being the first album. So that for me was really, I was a massive Danny Bird fan.
I remember hearing Red Mist on the radio for the first time, Radio 1 in 2008. And I had it cranked up. My dad come running up the stairs and turn that down. I've never heard bass like it. It was unreal. So you got to think 14, 15-year-old me going nuts to Red Mist.
Do you remember the front cover CDs you'd get as well from like Mix Mag and DJ Mag?
Yes.
There was a hype one. There was a DJ Rap as well.
So my schoolmate gave me, he was like, because he knew I was into drum and bass. He was like, "Oh, Josh, you may like this." And it was John B's Trance and Bass.
Oh, that's a brilliant album.
Yeah,
that's the best front cover CD album. Ever.
And I think that mix pretty much. Yeah, that was like the start. The first tune, Electro Freak Epic Mix, takes 3 minutes to get in, but I've never heard a Reese line like it. And it's moments like that, and it just gets you into the rabbit hole. And then before you know, and then you go, "Oh, I like this artist." So it's difficult to say like specific artists. But it's just this whole world. It was like we'd opened up. But the thing is, as well, we came in quite late. So you open up in the mid 2000s or the sort of late 2000s. But then the first thing we think of is, right, actually, let's look at the history. Let's go backwards and how it started. Jungle, Original Nutter. I do remember that. And then we're going through all the jungle, and we're like, "Oh, this is amazing!" Breakbeats being absolutely mashed up, bass lines. I remember,
and then I bought so much good-looking records because, like from LTJ Buckham and MC Comrade, old Blue Martin was on there as well, and that's how I sort of come across Blue Martin as well. So, what was their first album called, like the 2010?
I don't know, it's probably
up on there somewhere. But
Jungle. So we went back to go and actually research the history, because it's fascinating. It's something that I really love doing. I love finding out about how drum and bass is today and where it started, and artists and stories about how tunes were made, how like they were pressed up, and
the dub plate houses.
It's really interesting. I love it. And that's something I've always sort of and it's allowed you to find out about the genre, and then the more we know about it, and then the names that we recognize, and then it just sort of goes from there. So it's like, say, the Hospital, Ram, all the big labels, Shogun, Audio, all the big labels is where undoubtedly you're gonna find yourself drawn to start with, and then once you're in, it's then right where if you start with a subgenre or you find it, then you go even further, and there's so much.
And then you go to like Critical, maybe Samurai record. It's just sort of fairly.
Drum and bass is huge. It's a massive genre.
There's only house, techno, and drum and bass that's like that as well, isn't there? There's not many other genres that have that amount of depth when it comes to the subgenre.
And there's time and tracks that are timeless, but then gems that you can play, that we do in our sets, tracks that are over 10 years old that you can play, people won't recognize them, and they'll go, "Oh wow, this sounds like a new tune." You're like, "No, it's not. This is just a gem from 2012 from Spy or whatever." And it's like, and drum and bass is I remember a tweet that someone put out to say, if you want to instead of playing dubs, just play tunes that are from 2012 today, and people won't have heard of it. And I'll be honest, that's the mentality that we've been doing for the last, because those were the tunes that we started playing, mixing. So yeah, it's a Syran DJ set will have tunes from over 20 years, because I can't play all new tunes. I like older tunes, and there's tunes that some tunes stand up really well, some tunes don't stand up well.
Tested though as well, isn't it? You've got to think, if they are older and they're released, they're very much more than likely tried and tested. I have a similar method with that, and one of the ways I kind of do a similar thing to you guys is my hard drive. The way when I grab a track, download it or get it on dub or whatever, it gets categorized, and at the end of the title of it, so it's artist, title, label, I put the year. And I do tend to have a skip through my hard drive every time I have a gig and look at just random years or random labels just to remember something there. So it's easier to search, and I'm going to drag that in. I think recently I found, do you remember Nero? They were big dubstep act, drum and bass. There was a Satisfy tune, and there was an audio bootleg of it.
Oh,
and
yes.
I had a copy of that, and I'm like, I haven't played this in nearly 10 years. And I started with it at a Neuroheads event, and I had like message after message after set. What the fuck was that bootleg at the beginning of the set? And like you said, so it's about 10 years old, buddy.
Yeah, it's brilliant, and there's so much music. We do, like when we're DJ, we do have and we're doing gigs, we do have this. We like to be hard on ourselves about. We have strict rules on what we do, and we sort of. I came up with the idea, but. So the rule that we have for when doing gigs is, apart from us, our own tunes, we limit only one tune from one artist. So it means that, because
we don't want to play all the culture shock, all the focus.
I don't want to play 5, and it makes it difficult, because it means there's
that is difficult. That's very difficult.
But it also means that we have to go looking for tunes. So and it's nice because you've got all these artists. Tracks that you're playing, some new, some old, but then it means, like, if, for example, you take someone like Subfocus, for example, straight away there's 5 or 10 tunes I'll go, yeah, I'd love to play that, but it also allows you to sort of rotate in and out, and it means that every gig that we play is going to be slightly different, or there's combinations that we've practiced and tried, tested, that we know that work, and it's just good. Because it's like, you'll be amazed at how fast the hour can go, and it's like, oh, it's brilliant, but I've played only 5 artists' tunes, and I just think it's So a rule like that. Obviously, we'll play loads of our own tunes, but I like that, because it means as DJs we're having to look. You've got all this massive library of tunes that we like, play them, and then it means you can play more.
It reminds me of a bit of I mean, going back to what you said about old tunes being, to a lot of people, they don't recognize them, they think they're new. And that's obviously the new generation of drum bass coming in. I mean, it reminds me of a very funny tweet that went viral not too long ago, where I think a couple of years ago, Kanye West did some sort of collaboration with Paul McCartney. Okay. And there was a few tweets and posts of Kanye fans saying, isn't Kanye great for helping this new artist to come through? And he went absolutely viral. So it's a similar thing, but I thought it worth mentioning that, because I thought it was absolutely hilarious.
I like it. I think it's good, because when the new generation or people that find tunes that they love, and then they've never heard them before, and you think, and then you tell them, and then the hope from me is that they do what I did. They go, oh, I love this tune. Oh, I didn't know it was releasing this year, and then they go down the rabbit hole, and you're educating and opening them up to sort of research and find tunes for themselves, rather than other people telling them what tunes they should like. And I do feel that with the way social media works, it can be very easy to. If a tune from a popular artist is being shared and reposted or whatever, you feel like you're being spoon-fed it a little bit, and you feel like you have to like it. Whereas if you you take that on board, but then you go and research yourself, you then find this palette of music, this whole catalogue of music that you like, And the idea is that everyone is different, and then people, you've got more individuals sharing tunes, and that's how it works.
And this is where I have almost the bone to pick with like Spotify or Beatport or whatever the be, because if you then play one track, it will then all it will do is just go, oh, I'm going to recommend something similar. It will never really recommend any, like it won't recommend anything other than kind of very similar to that.
So YouTube's algorithm is brilliant for that, though, doing the good thing about it, giving you something really, it's along the right lines, but something different. Like it'll just look at drum and bass. Let me show you some more drum and bass. It does it that way. So yeah, they could definitely take some tips on Spotify, couldn't they?
Yeah,
from algorithms like YouTube for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What's up everyone, Lee UHF here, the host of DNB Wraps. Thank you for watching our videos. If you like what you're hearing and seeing on the channel, please make sure you're subscribing to it. Please make sure you thumbs up the videos, and more importantly, let's get some comments going as well. It really helps the channel, and in order for us to provide this content to you, we do need the channel to grow. So we can't do this without your help. Hope you enjoy the video. Speak to you soon.